Hey there, folks. My name is Celia, and this story happened not too long ago when I just turned 39. Hold on to your hats because it's a wild ride, and trust me, you're going to need some popcorn for this one. Maybe some tissues if you find my story sad as well. Now, let me tell you about my mother-in-law, Vida. She's a special case, and if you've ever dealt with a tricky mother-in-law, you'll get where I'm coming from. And considering we were even living together, yeah, that just cranked our arguments up to 11. I never expected my life to turn out this way, but hey, love makes us do crazy things, right? So rewind to the good old days when I met my late husband, Javier. Picture this, I'm in Cuba on a girls' trip with some friends. Now, my friend, let's call her Jenny, had this brilliant idea to drive there using another friend's car. We were skeptical, of course, but she was telling us it was okay because she had spent some of her childhood in Cuba and she remembered the roads and that she could drive and take us around Havana. The rest of us were obviously side-eyeing her, but she managed to convince us because we were all a bit too tipsy to be making wise decisions. Well, we ended up getting a flat tire, and we were stranded because we didn't know where we were. Luckily, there was a little club not too far from where we stopped, and we managed to make our way there just to ask for some help. So there we were, gallivanting around town like the tipsy tourists we were, and that's when my life changed. It all happened so fast. I locked eyes with Javier across the crowded salsa club. Cue the romantic music, folks, because we hit it off and we started dancing the night away, and I was thinking, wow, Cuba just became my new favorite place. Long story short, Javier and I fell head over heels, and I ended up extending my stay just so that I could get to know Javier a bit better. You would think that I'd be a bit smarter than that, but at 23, in a new place with beautiful people, there wasn't much I could do to stop myself from falling so fast. I stayed in Cuba for a month longer, getting to know Javier and his beautiful culture. I even met some of his cousins and aunties, and they loved me. I definitely felt like my life was changing, and every time I was with Javier, it was like I was floating. I would visit Havana more often as the months went by. I'd even go as far as borrowing money from my parents so that I could meet him, and it was worth it every single time. Javier just got me in a way that nobody else ever did, and I knew that I was dealing with someone special. I've never felt this way before. It makes me feel so happy. Honestly, Javier, I don't know what you did to me, and I never thought I'd say this, but I'm so glad that we got that flat tire that day. Please, Celia, move to Cuba. Come and stay with me. Oh, Javier, how could I leave my life behind? I mean, everything I know is back in Virginia. What will my family say, my friends? Celia, you can visit them any time you want to. I'll make sure that you never miss home. But I need you here, and I need you in my life. Please consider it. I'll give you anything and everything you'll ever want. I want to make you happy. Oh, my love, you already make me happy. So just imagine how much happier we'll be if we're together all the time. We've only been dating for 6 months, Javier. When you know, Celia. And I know that this is real. I really want you in my life, Celia. Please. You have to move here. I'll think about it. I contemplated this for a while. A while being like 2 months. And all of my friends and family members were of course upset at me for potentially leaving, but they were also happy for me. They said that I needed to follow my heart and be true to myself. So if I wanted to move to Cuba, I had every right to do that. After thinking about it some more, I made my decision. Next thing you know, I'm packing my bags to move to the land of salsa and sunshine. Of course, Javier was over the moon, and as scary as it was, I loved the move to Cuba. It was out of my comfort zone, and I believe it needed to happen so that I could mold myself into a better me. Moving in with Javier was a whole new world, let me tell you. Weird, but I welcomed the experience with open arms because, well, life's all about new adventures, right? So when I was planning on moving in with Javier, he spilled the beans about his mom, Vida, living with him. Apparently, she would get sick often, so Javier had her move in with him to keep an eye on her. But at the same time, it wasn't uncommon for kids to live with their parents on that side of the world. I was cool with that, prepping myself for the whole family living arrangement. This was going to be my first time meeting Vida. We couldn't meet before when I visited Cuba because she was out there doing some missionary work in some of the rural areas. Our schedules just never matched up. I wasn't complaining too much because meeting in-laws is always nerve-wracking. But this time we were going to see each other, of course, and let me tell you, I was so freaking nervous. The car ride from the airport to Javier's place felt like I had an anchor in my stomach and a lump in my throat. It was so scary. When Javier and I arrived, Vida was surprisingly nice. She helped with my bags, teaching me some Spanish and lucum while we were unpacking and just being sweet in general. My worries were melting away and I was starting to think that everything was going to work out. Living together for a couple of weeks and oh boy, the cracks were starting to show. We'd start with these little tiffs, small disagreements about how to run the household. Sure, I was letting Vida take the reins because, hey, it was her son's house after all. But when it came to my turn to cook or clean, she'd always find something to complain about. My skills were under constant scrutiny. Javier, God bless him, would just laugh it off, trying to lighten the mood. But let me tell you, things were starting to spiral out of control faster than a kid on a merry-go-round. Hold on tight, because this story is about to take a nosedive into mother-in-law madness. Sure, I was letting Vida take the reins because, hey, it was her son's house after all. But when it came to my turn to cook or clean, she'd always find something to complain about. My skills were under constant scrutiny, and I felt like I had to walk on eggshells. Javier would just laugh it off, trying to lighten the mood between us all because he never worried about half of the things that I did. But let me tell you, things were starting to spiral out of control faster than a kid on a merry-go-round. I was trying to keep it cool, but deep down I could feel the tension building up like a volcano about to erupt. One day she came up to me when Javier was at work and she said, "I'm sure Javier hasn't told you." Told me what? Of course he didn't tell you. I've been thinking maybe it might be better if you move out. What? Why? Because we didn't feel like you are a great fit here, at least for now. Does Javier feel the same? Or is it just you? I've been patient with you, but I can't take it anymore. You're just too different. But I'm learning, Vida. I love you and Javier, and I want to be here, please. Okay, but just do better, okay? To be completely honest with you, Vida, I'm not even sure what I'm doing wrong. You'll complain about my cooking or my cleaning, but what exactly is the issue? Well, it's hard to explain. Well, until you find the words, I'll continue to do my best here, okay? Maybe we just need to get to know each other better. I know that living with people can be a big adjustment, but I can assure you that as long as we work together, everything will be fine. Yeah, all right. So are we good? Do I still need to move out? We'll see about that. Now, I'm not one to stir the pot, but Vida and I, let's just say that after that conversation, we weren't exactly exchanging cookie recipes. I tried to be cordial and even forgiving, but she wouldn't let up. It actually seemed like her complaints were getting worse and worse as the months went by, and I was beginning to get fed up. Now, you might be wondering if I talked to Javier about all of this and spilled the tea on his mom's antics. Honestly, I hesitated. I mean, what if he took her side? It was a sticky situation, to say the least, and I didn't feel comfortable speaking ill about my boyfriend's mom. It wasn't going to be a good look, you know. But then it hit me. I needed to speak up for myself if I was going to survive this living arrangement with Javier. So I geared up to have a talk the day I planned to spill the beans about how uncomfortable I was. But hold up, plot twist. Javier decides to propose to me on that very day. Shocked? You bet. But I said yes, of course, because, well, I loved the guy. And that evening, Javier surprised his mother with the big news, and let me tell you, she was less than thrilled. Javier, being the oblivious sweetheart he is, didn't notice, but I could see the subtle signs of her being peeved. I decided to keep my trap shut a bit longer. I mean, how could I rain on the parade when we were over the moon about getting married? Fast forward a couple of months and we tied the knot a little bit after I turned 25. Things between my mother-in-law and me got weirder though. I could sense she was starting to resent me, but she kept it under wraps, maybe some modicum of respect for me as her daughter-in-law. I don't know. Or perhaps she didn't want to be too hostile and risk Javier noticing. It was like walking on a tightrope, and I was bracing for the inevitable fall. Things took a nosedive when Javier wasn't around. When he was on a work trip or off golfing with his buddies, Vida would unleash her true colors. She went as far as yelling at me a couple of times. But the moment I called her out on her disrespect, oh boy, she'd backtrack like a pro. Suddenly, I'm the dramatic one, or it's all blamed on her stress. I couldn't take it anymore. I was reaching my boiling point, folks. It was time for a heart-to-heart with my husband, and at that point, I couldn't care less if he thought I was being rude or disrespectful towards his mom. Sometimes you just gotta let the truth spill out like knocking over a bottle of ketchup. Messy but necessary. Stay tuned, because the confrontation's about to unfold, and you won't believe the drama that unfolds in our little Cuban casa. Babe, I need to talk to you about something serious. What's wrong, my love? It's your mom. My mom? What happened? Well, I've been meaning to talk to you about this, actually, but I always hesitated because I didn't know how you'd react. But she hasn't been kind to me. Really? Is it about your cooking? You know, she's just teasing, babe. I'll admit she can be a bit catty, but her heart's in the right place, I swear. Javier, just a couple of days ago she yelled at me all because I used the blue duster instead of the red one. Yelled at you? Because of a duster? She said something about how the blue duster had sentimental value or something. I don't know. It was all so weird and confusing. She speaks to me like I'm a little kid. Are you sure, Celia? What if you're just misinterpreting her because of the language barrier? My Spanish and my lucum has been getting better and better. Language has nothing to do with it. I'm telling you, babe, you don't see how she acts when you're not here. That is unbelievable. I can't imagine. Why would she treat you that way? I don't know. I'll talk to her. Please, don't make it seem like I hate her or anything. I feel like there's a deeper reason, you know. She complains about everything, and it's just exhausting keeping up with her expectations. Don't you worry, my love. Javier marched off to talk to his mom, and I could hear the muffled sounds of their argument in the next room. It was like a soap opera unfolding live in our casa. Things were getting pretty heated, and when Javier stormed back into the room, he looked angrier than a bull in a china shop. I cautiously asked him what was wrong, bracing myself for the fallout. He started ranting, unleashing a whole spiel about how he had no idea his mom was this stubborn, and just downright mean. It was like the curtain had been lifted and the reality of his mom's behavior was hitting him like a ton of bricks. She said such awful things. I don't even know what to say. What did she say? A bunch of things I don't care much to repeat. Honestly, wow. You see what I was talking about? I don't know. She said she wanted you out of the house, and she's saying that she doesn't want us to be married anymore. What? She said she doesn't care about you anymore since you snitched to me. That's not fair. I was just talking to you. That is what I was afraid of. No, Celia, don't be scared. You did nothing wrong. What if she continues to treat me like this, and what will happen when you're not home? Babe, trust me. As long as I'm around, I won't let her do anything. I don't know what's come over her, but actually, maybe I do. I asked Javier what he meant by that, and he sighed and began to spill the beans. Turns out his mom was going through a lot financially, and her health issues weren't the only reason she moved in with him all those years ago. Brace yourself, because this revelation was a game changer. Apparently, Vida used to be a bit of a gambler back in the day, and one night, as most addicts do, she got a bit too cocky and ended up blowing her life savings on a bet that went south. She was devastated, and maybe that's what turned her so bitter. Now she's projecting her issues onto me. Javier dropped the bomb that she was in serious debt and he was working on paying it off, and that he had managed to pay off most of it as the years went by, but what was left was still a hefty sum, about $9,000 left. Now it was all starting to make sense. She was just a hurting old lady, probably feeling rejected because her son was moving on with his life and had a wife to care for. She was no longer the only woman in his life, and I guess she wasn't handling it well. I softened a bit, feeling bad for her. She was going through a lot already with her health and the debt. It must have been awful. Although I softened, Javier was more pissed than I was. His argument was that she needed to be more appreciative and had to respect me as her daughter-in-law because this was not fair. I did everything for her, and the moment I feel happy, the moment I fall in love, she acts like this. Javier, I'm so sorry. She's never spoken to me that way before. I'm still shocked. I tried keeping this from you to save her from the embarrassment, of course, but I don't know what's gotten into her. It's okay, Javier. Like you said, she's going through a lot. Now that I know all of this, I'm sure I'll be able to handle her outbursts. It's not right. She's a grown woman. She's able to control her actions. Don't make excuses for her. Let's just give her some time to cool off, yeah? Maybe we could rehash this discussion when we've calmed down a bit. You're right. I'm just hurt, you know? I understand, babe. I love you. Thank you for standing up for me and for telling me that. I know it wasn't easy. Thanks, babe. The household after that revelation was super awkward, to say the least. Awkwardness hung in the air like a thick fog for the better part of the next 13 years. Yeah, I know, it's a ridiculously long time, but it just goes to show what happens when we hold on to our anger. Javier remained angry with his mom whenever she treated me poorly, and developed a hypersensitivity to it even. When my mother-in-law tried to say something rude, he'd lash out at her, yelling in front of me. This just fueled her anger towards me even more. It was a toxic cycle, and most times it felt like Javier and I were living with a toxic housemate, not an actual relative. Javier dropped a bomb on me a couple of years ago. He had stopped paying his mother's debt. I was shocked. Their relationship had been strained, and I guess that was the main reason. It was awful. I felt like things might get better if we moved to the States, maybe Virginia. I was missing my people, and we were all unhappy in Cuba. Unfortunately, I never got the chance to share this plan with Javier because something awful happened. One day, as I was coming home from the farmer's market, I got a call from Vida. For some reason, I immediately knew something was wrong. I had never heard Vida scream like that. She sounded like she was in pure pain. The news she delivered hit me like a ton of bricks. And suddenly, buying those mangoes at half price didn't matter anymore. Nothing did. She told me that Javier had gotten into a car accident and was pronounced dead at the scene. She said she was on her way to the site and that I needed to hurry. My world shattered. Apparently there was some drunk driver and he was trying to avoid, which made him swerve to the far right, causing a massive collision with the car next to him. The other people involved managed to escape with some injuries, but my husband lost his life. Life suddenly felt unbelievably unfair. I was heartbroken, and nothing has been the same ever since. Even though I was praying to the gods and hoping that this was a bad dream, it was unfortunately too real. Vida and I had this secret code where we just stood in silence. In the morgue, at the funeral, and even in the house, we were just silent. I mean, what would we say? It seemed like silence was the only thing overwhelming us. It was so awful how everything was crashing down, and the glue that held us together was no longer here. A couple of months went by, and I wasn't even able to celebrate my 39th birthday properly. I mean, how could I? I was depressed, and I didn't feel like celebrating anything because there was nothing to celebrate. Most days in the house were filled with silence, only talking when we had to get groceries or pay the electricity bill. I lost my lover and my best friend all too soon, and honestly, I was ready to move back home. Cuba seemed like a 15-year-long fever dream at that point, and I was ready to wake up and face the bitter truth of reality. But then I thought about my mother-in-law and how lonely she must have felt. And that's when I decided that all this drama, all of this beef needed to be left in the past. None of that compared to the pain of losing someone we both loved dearly. Life throws curveballs, and sometimes it feels like we're drowning in the storm. But if there's one thing this journey has taught me, it's that even in the midst of heartbreak and silence, there's room for forgiveness and understanding. You see, I decided to extend the olive branch, and it was a pretty hefty olive branch at that because I decided to pay off her debt. Yeah, you heard that right. I was going to pay off that $9,000 so that perhaps she could see that I never hated her and that I've always cared for her. I went through some of Javier's documents and files to get the details of the debt she owed, and surprised her with the news that she would now have a free conscience. After about a week or so, everything was settled and I had paid off all her debt. It felt super freeing, and I could just feel the healing start to work between us. So one day I brought her flowers and a note that told her the news, and I was anticipating her reaction. I was expecting her to jump for joy or even cry. But I wasn't expecting her to be angry. "How could you do this?" What? What's going on? "I didn't ask you to do this." "Vida, there's no need to feel embarrassed. Javier told me everything and I just wanted to help." "You had no right to do that." "Maybe I didn't, but all we have is each other, right? Javier would be happy knowing that." "Stop saying his name. I don't want to hear that name. Do you think I want your pity money? When my own son refused to help me?" Vida, please, let's sit down and talk about this. I know you're hurting." "No, don't talk to me. I don't want to see your face." "Vida, please, calm down. I think it's time that you get out. You need to leave. This is not your home." "Excuse me?" "You heard me. I've never wanted you here, and now that he's gone, you don't need to be here. Get out. Get all of your stuff and get out." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I tried reasoning with her, but you can't reason with someone who is unreasonable. She kept yelling, and she started getting violent, throwing and breaking things, and at that moment I was just so overcome with sadness that I let her have it. I had no energy to fight her. Since I was planning on moving back home anyway, I decided that I would give my mother-in-law what she always wanted, her space. So I went upstairs, ignoring her insults, and began packing my things. I was obviously going to pack Javier's things as well. It seemed like her son was literally and figuratively dead to her. It was such a shame to see someone like that act that way, especially towards their kid. I was crying as I was ripping our closet apart, being angry at everyone and everything for the way that I was feeling, and I came across a little box I hadn't seen before. I opened it up, of course, and I got the shock of a lifetime. There was a letter from Javier, and the tears just burst out of me like a tap. The letter read, "My love, happy 40th birthday. I hope you enjoy your present. I've been planning this for years just so that you know how much I love you. I'm sorry for everything I've put you through with my mom, with anything else that has ever stressed you out. I love you. You are my everything. And I hope that you know that I would move mountains for you. I love you." Attached to the letter was the title deed to the house that we were living in, with my name written on it. Can you believe it? On top of that, he attached a check for $5,000, and attached was a sticky note that said, "Decorate the house however you want." I was shocked. I didn't even know what to say. I had to reread the letter, the deed, and the check. I was shaking. I thought that this was a joke, but it seemed to be legit. Why he had my 40th birthday planned out for this long, only the Lord knows, but it hit me like a ton of bricks. After gathering myself, I made my way back downstairs and confronted Vida. "Your things better be packed. I don't want to see you anymore." I showed her the title deed, and she scanned it over with her angry eyes. When she realized what it was, her eyes went wide. She reread it, and I assured her that it was true and legit. She started yelling, and I calmly explained that I didn't even want to consider the deed. But she began cursing at me and saying some really vile things. I was now angry and completely fed up with her, so I yelled back for once and told her that I was taking the house and that she should leave. Oh boy, that's when she changed her tune real quick. She was now crying and begging me to help her. I told her that she should look for a new place since she was now debt-free, but she continued to beg and plead, telling me that she was sorry and that she wanted to rebuild our relationship. I told her that I was sick of her nonsense and that I didn't want her in my house. "How dare you? You're so selfish. Your name might be on the deed, but this is my house. If you want to bring that up with the police, that's fine, but in the meantime, I want you out of here, okay? Celia, you can't do this. Where will I go?" "I don't know. I don't care. I've had it up to here with you. You think you're the only one going through things? I guess you'll learn real quick to be a good person when you're sleeping on the streets." "Celia, please. I didn't mean any of those things I said. Really. For all those years you were lying? Well, Javier is probably rolling in his grave. You need to get your crap together, but do it outside of my house, please, and thank you." Vida tried to put up a fight, but eventually she left in a huff, even refusing to pack her things because she was so convinced that she would be back. Well, that didn't turn out to be the case because I sold the house. I didn't want to live there anymore. It smelled like Javier and I couldn't take it. So I put her belongings in a storage unit, sold the house, and made my way back to Virginia. The entire process took about a month or so to finalize, and I guess that was when Vida came with her crew and some family members to fight for the house back. But I was long gone by that time, and the house was now owned by someone else. She tried contacting me, cursing and yelling at me through Facebook and threatening to sue, but I blocked her and began to pick up the broken pieces of my life. I was done with her and her crap, and I'm glad I got my revenge. Hey everyone, I'm Melissa, and I'm here to contribute to the revenge trope stories. This story is more about karma, the consequences people face from their own actions, and by people, I mean my younger sister, Carly. Now, let me give you some insight into our relationship. I'm the eldest sibling in our family, and it's just been Carly and me. You see, Carly and I grew up in your typical suburban household. Our parents doted on us, and life was pretty darn good. Carly was the brainiac, acing all her tests and charming everyone she met. Meanwhile, I was just, well, me. Always getting into trouble and never quite living up to the family expectations. So, it was just us, our parents, and our cozy little home. It might not seem much to many people, but for me, it was. But then, everything changed when our parents passed away. It was a tragic accident that turned our world upside down. I still remember that day like it was yesterday. Carly and I were called to the principal's office at school, and there was Grandma waiting for us with tears in her eyes. "My dear girls, Carly and Melissa, I need to tell you something." "What's wrong, Grandma?" "I'd like to have a private moment with you both. Your parents, they're gone. There was a terrible car accident this morning while they were on their way to work." "What do you mean, Grandma? I want Mom and Dad." "This can't be happening. What do you mean they're gone?" "I know, it's incredibly tough to hear at your age, but right now, I'm the only family you have left, my dears. I promise I'll take good care of you." It's a painful memory I'd rather forget. In the aftermath, Carly and I struggled to cope. We moved in with Grandma, but nothing felt the same without Mom and Dad. As the older sibling, I felt the weight of responsibility falling heavily on my shoulders after our parents' passing. While I tried to step up and be there for my sister, Carly, she seemed to spiral out of control. It seemed like we both had Freaky Friday Ed. Grandma Martha, bless her heart, had to bear the brunt of Carly's rebellious behavior, and I couldn't help but feel sorry for her. Carly's troubles seemed to multiply after Mom and Dad were gone. I remember one time when she snuck out of the house in the middle of the night to attend a party. Grandma was beside herself with worry until Carly stumbled back home in the early hours of the morning, reeking of alcohol. Despite my attempts to guide her, Carly continued down a path of recklessness. She started skipping classes, staying out late, and hanging out with questionable friends. Looking back, I realize now that Carly was struggling to cope with the loss of our parents in her own way. But at the time, it felt like she was deliberately making life difficult for all of us. After finishing high school, I felt both nervous and excited about what was next. Leaving Carly and Grandma was tough, but I knew going to college would help us all in the long run. College was a whole new world for me. And during my second year, I met my husband Nathan in one of my classes. He was really nice and smart, studying engineering. We hit it off right away and became really close. While I was busy with college and focused on building a better future, Carly's life was taking a different path. Unlike me, she wasn't interested in going to college or getting a job. Instead, she seemed content living off Grandma Martha's money. I tried to talk to her and offer my guidance as her big sister, but she didn't seem to care. During my last year of college, when I came home for Thanksgiving, I decided it was time to have a serious conversation with her. "Carly, you finished high school 2 years ago, and since then, you've been relying on Grandma's money. You know she's helped us a lot, but this can't go on forever." "Give me a break, Melissa. It's Thanksgiving. I don't need another lecture from you." "Carly, I'm about to graduate from college. I'm planning to get a job, maybe even move into a new apartment with Nathan. I'm getting my life together, and I'm willing to help you too. I could pay for your tuition, but please just try to do something. I don't see what your problem is. Grandma is fine with me staying with her. Why can't you accept that? I'll live my life the way I want. You can't control me. I'm not trying to control you, Carly. I just want to help you become more independent. In today's world, having a job is crucial. We don't have much financial security, you know. Ugh, Melissa, you're so boring. I'm going out for a smoke. Tell Grandma I'll be back for dinner. After that conversation with Carly, I decided maybe I should give her more time. I focused on finishing college. Once I graduated, I landed a job as an environmental analyst at a research institute. It was a dream come true, working in a field I was passionate about. Meanwhile, Nathan had secured a job as a civil engineer at a construction company. We were both excited about our careers and the future ahead. With our stable jobs, we decided to take the next step and move in together. We found a cozy apartment in the heart of the city where we could start our lives together. A couple more years went by and I turned 24. Then Carly called with heartbreaking news. Grandma had passed away. I was crushed. Nathan drove us back to our hometown. Carly seemed calm, but I could sense her sadness. I took charge of arranging the funeral as there weren't many people there. Grandma just left a few belongings and some money split between Carly and me. And the house, well, she left it to me. I remember Carly being bitter about it, but I had assured her she could use it for as long as she wanted to. After the funeral, as everyone left, Nathan and I prepared to return home, but I couldn't shake the feeling that Carly needed me. Even though she seemed okay on the surface, I knew deep down she must be feeling lonely, so I decided to stay back, wanting to support her through this tough time. Hey, why is Nathan leaving alone? Aren't you going with him? Look, Carly, I know you want to act like this doesn't matter to you, but I want you to know I'm here for you, and I've decided to stay here for a bit. Whoa, you're not staying with me, Melissa. You're not getting it. I've got my own plans. I get it, Carly, but things are different now, and I want to help you get back on track. You can't just brush off everything that's happened. Well, I've got Ethan moving in with me now. We've got plans. Ethan? Who's Ethan? He's my boyfriend, Melissa, and he's been there for me in ways you haven't. Wow, Carly, that's great news. Can I meet him? Not yet, Melissa. Don't be annoying. Carly, Melissa's just trying to help. Can't you see that? Nathan, stay out of this. This is between me and Melissa. All right, Carly, I'll leave if you want me to, but promise me you'll try to sort things out, and I hope this Ethan treats you right. Fine, Melissa, just go. Goodbye. So Nathan and I returned to our apartment. A couple of months later, when I talked to Carly, she excitedly shared that she had landed a job at a local salon as a receptionist. I was genuinely proud of her progress. She also mentioned that things were going well with Ethan, her boyfriend. It seemed like love was bringing out the best in her. And during that time, my own life was bustling with activity. Ethan surprised me with a proposal, and we happily got engaged. Carly was surprised at first, but she quickly showed her support and excitement for our upcoming wedding. She even helped me with wedding planning and choosing the perfect dress when she visited me in the city. I remember the first time I met Ethan over dinner at Grandma's house right after my wedding. Oh my goodness, Ethan, I've been looking forward to meeting you. I was so bummed when Carly told me you cannot make it to the wedding. It has been over a year since Carly and you started dating, and I've been eager to meet the man who stole my sister's heart. Yeah, I've always mentioned to Carly about meeting you guys, but she never seems interested in inviting you over. Come on now, don't throw me under the bus like that. Congratulations to both of you, by the way. Thanks, mate. So, Carly, how's your job at the salon? How are things going there? Well, the salon, it's okay, I guess. Didn't you tell your sister? Tell me what? I decided to quit my job at the salon. It was kind of boring and it didn't pay me well. I've always told her that getting a college degree would open up better opportunities for her. She's a smart girl and she could have landed a better job. Well, it's never too late to pursue higher education, right? I've told you guys 1,000 times, I just don't want to go to college. I'm 23, I can make my own decisions. Anyway, Ethan seems to be doing well. He's taking care of your living expenses here, isn't he? Yeah, Ethan has a really good job and he's been helping out with everything. I really love Carly and I don't mind taking care of her. That's really nice of you. After our visit to Carly's place, where things seemed surprisingly okay, Nathan and I settled back into our city life. Our days were filled with nothing but love. Then, out of the blue, Carly called me one evening. Her voice was tense, and I could sense something was wrong. Hey, Mel, I need to talk to you. Hey, Carly, what's up? You sound really anxious. Is everything all right? Mel, I messed up. I messed up big time. What are you talking about, Carly? I'm pregnant. Oh, isn't that something you should be happy about? Did you not want a baby? I mean, I get it. You're pretty young, but Ethan loves you and, well, it isn't Ethan's baby. What? You must be kidding me. I wish I was, Mel. I'm really ashamed to admit this, but I had been cheating on Ethan. Why would you even do that, Carly? Ethan doesn't deserve this. Well, I've been seeing this guy. He had money and I thought it was better than being with Ethan. I didn't want a boring life. It's so complicated situation. What do you mean by a complicated situation? Ethan loves you and you chose money over him? I don't want to settle for a mediocre life. I thought me and that guy really had a thing going on there and he promised me that he would leave his wife, but turns out it was just a casual fling for him. When I told him that I was pregnant with his baby, he said he didn't want to be a part of the baby's life and didn't want to see my face ever again. Wow, Carly, you got involved with a married man? I know, it's a mess. I haven't told Ethan yet. I want to keep the baby though. I think it could bring some happiness into my life. Are you sure you're ready to be a mom? Of course I am. Do you think I should keep it a secret from Ethan? Carly, that's not fair to him. You need to tell Ethan and soon. If you don't, I will. Maybe this baby will change things for the better. You're my sister. I need your support, Mel. I've been reflecting a lot lately and I'm really regretful about how I've treated you and everyone else in my life. When our parents passed away, you were there for me, but I was not there for you. I want to change that. I've been a bad sister, but that's going to change now. I'm going to work on myself and be better. Okay, let us start by telling Ethan the truth. Then we'll figure out the rest together, I promise. So, after Carly told Ethan about the baby, things didn't go well. He got really angry and left her. I felt bad for Carly, even though it was her mistake. I didn't like seeing her hurt. She needed someone, and I didn't think Nathan would mind if I stayed with her for a while. Carly didn't have a job, and the money Grandma left her was running out, so I decided to take some time off work and stay with Carly. For the next 9 months, I was there for Carly during her pregnancy. I didn't want her to go through it alone. I visited her every month, staying with her for 1 or 2 weeks at a time. It was important to me to support her, even though she had made some mistakes. During those months, Carly and I grew closer. We talked a lot about her plans for the future and how she wanted to change. She was determined to be a better person and a good mother to her baby. I admired her strength and courage. As Carly's due date approached, I made sure everything was ready for the baby's arrival. We went shopping for baby clothes and furniture, and I helped Carly set up the nursery. It was an exciting time, despite the challenges Carly was facing. When the day finally came, I was by Carly's side in the delivery room. It was a long and difficult labor, but seeing the joy on Carly's face when she held her baby for the first time made it all worth it. I knew then that everything would be okay. So it was a baby boy, and Carly named him Cole. I decided to stay with Carly for a while, so I told Nathan I wouldn't be coming home for some time. He was understanding and said it was okay because Carly needed me. Carly was dependent on me both financially and emotionally. She wanted to start applying for jobs, so while she did that, I took care of Cole at home. I had saved enough money to support us for a while, so I wasn't worried about finances. For 4 months, I stayed at home with Cole while Carly went out to look for jobs. Nathan visited us every weekend, and we enjoyed spending time together as a family. Carly began seeing a guy named Josh, and she spent a lot of time with him. I was worried because she wasn't focusing on finding a job or taking care of Cole anymore. Despite my support, she seemed more interested in spending time with Josh than being independent. Carly came back home one evening after her dinner date with Josh. "Guess what, Melissa?" "What?" "You can go home and stay with Nathan. I don't need you here anymore." "Did you finally get a job?" "No, but Josh wants to move in, and he has a good job, earns well, and can take care of me and Cole." "Are you sure about this? It's only been a month since you started seeing this guy. You have a little baby now. You're a mother. There are things you need to consider." "I don't want to hear another word, Melissa. I'm a grown woman. You can pack your bags and leave tomorrow morning." "I have had enough of you ordering me to get a job, enough of you trying to tell me to be more responsible for Cole. I am Cole's mother. No one knows him better than I do." "Carly, after all that I have done for you, I literally left my husband alone in the city so I could come and stay with you. I left my job, I left my life behind to support you and help you finally get your life back together. And all I asked of you in return was to be a little responsible." "Responsible this, responsible that. Don't you get it, Melissa? I'm done with you. I have a family now. I have a son and a boyfriend. It's better that you go back to your family. I mean, sure, thanks for helping me these last few months, but your job is over now. So stop being a parasite at my house. You're unwanted here. I'm putting Cole to sleep now. I expect you to be gone when I wake up." So, dear reader, that incident happened around 8 years ago. After Carly said those hurtful words to me, I reached my breaking point. I went home to Nathan, poured my heart out to him, and shared what Carly had said. Nathan helped me see the truth. Carly was using me for my money and support. Though I didn't want to believe it, it was true. I was blind to reality. I had always been there for Carly financially and emotionally. I covered all her expenses during her pregnancy, supported her appointments and medical needs, and even encouraged her to seek therapy, footing the bill for that too. It's not about comparing love and money, but I gave her both. Yet all she did was disrespect me and cast me aside when she found someone else. So we stopped talking altogether. Fast forward 7 years and my life has changed significantly. I was blessed with a baby girl named Ariel who just turned 6. Nathan and I were fully immersed in our life in the city, balancing work, family, and parenthood. Amidst all this, Carly faded into the background. She never reached out, never apologized, not even a simple thank you for all I had done. So imagine this. I'm chilling at home with Nathan and Ariel just watching some TV after a busy day, and out of the blue, my phone rings, and it's from some random number. Like, who could it be? Then, that's when Carly, out of nowhere, decides to make a comeback after more than 6 years of radio silence. I answered the phone, and without even thinking twice, I blurted out, "Carly?" Nathan shot me a concerned look and motioned for me to go to our bedroom to talk to her. "Melissa, it's me, your sister." "I haven't forgotten your voice, Carly. Why are you calling me?" "Melissa, I know my apology might not mean much at this point, but I'm really sorry for the way I spoke to you all those years ago. You helped me, but I didn't see it. Let's skip the apologies, Carly. I know you don't mean it, but hey, if you do, good for you. Maybe you're becoming more human and less selfish. Really, listen to me, Melissa. I know you won't believe it because of what I'm about to ask next. What now? I need some money. Josh left me. Do you remember your nephew? He has not eaten anything in 2 days. We literally have no money. The school is threatening to kick him out, Melissa. I'm begging you. If not for me, then for your nephew. Carly, I'm not falling for this again. Don't use your poor kid to get my sympathies. Please, just for a few months, I need some money. I just want a stable life for my son. I promise I'll get better this time. Enough with the promises, Carly. I have my own responsibilities now. I can't spare any money for you. What kind of responsibilities? Well, I have a daughter of my own now. Oh, congratulations. So I have a niece now? What's her name? Her name is Ariel. I would love to meet her someday. But Melissa, please imagine this. If, God forbid, you were in a bad position like this, wouldn't you want someone to help your Ariel? You don't have to say yes right now, but please know that we literally don't have anything. The electricity got cut off yesterday as well. Take your time, think about it. Just know that I'll be indebted to you for life and I will return every penny. Just think of Cole. He's a child. He hasn't done anything wrong. Please don't punish him for my mistakes. He shared the same blood as you, after all. I'll talk to Nathan about it. I'll see if I can do something. Thanks, Melissa. After talking to Carly, I had a lot to think about. She asked for help, but I was mostly worried about my nephew, Cole. Thinking about Cole made me sad. He was innocent and didn't deserve any of this. God knows what that poor boy must have been through lately. I couldn't bear the thought of him suffering because of Carly's mistakes. Talking to Nathan about it helped me put things into perspective. We both agreed that Cole's well-being was the most important thing right now. It wasn't about Carly anymore. We decided to visit Carly and Cole to see how they were doing. I sent Carly a text saying we wanted to come over every weekend, and she agreed. So on Saturday, Nathan, Ariel, and I drove to Carly's house, which I hadn't seen in over 7 years. It felt strange returning after so long, and seeing Carly after so long felt strange. Cole seemed like a sweet and cool kid. I introduced Ariel to him and they got along well, playing in the park together. Nathan watched over them while I talked with Carly in the kitchen. Look, Carly, I'm giving you this money for Cole's sake, not yours. And it's not a gift. Think of it as a loan. Oh my God. Thank you so much, Melissa. You're so generous. I promise things will be different this time. Well, I hope things do turn out better, and please take care of Cole. He's a smart kid. Just make sure you use the money wisely for Cole's needs. I will, Melissa, I promise. Thank you again for helping us out. So I set up this deal where I'd send Carly half the money from my paycheck every month. It was tough, but I felt like I had to do it for Cole. Carly said she was sorting stuff out and needed more time and wanted my trust. But I wasn't just giving her money for herself. It was for Cole. We'd visit every month and Ariel and Cole got along great. They were cousins after all. Carly seemed better, but I was wary. I had to use my head more than my heart this time. I decided if Carly didn't get her act together in a year, I'd stop the allowance with a prior heads up. For about 10 months, things seemed quiet, but then something unexpected happened. One day, I received a call from Carly's landline. When I picked up, I could hear Cole on the other end. Oh, hey there. Cole, how are you? Hi, Aunt Melissa. I need you. What do you mean you need me, Cole? Is everything okay? Are you safe? I'm really hungry. I haven't eaten anything, and Mom, she's gone forever. What do you mean she's gone forever? Where did she go? I don't know. There's this paper. She left a letter. It says, "Dear Melissa, I don't quite understand it, but maybe she left it for you. I don't think she's coming back." Oh God, for how long have you been on your own? It has been 2 days. Oh my God, do you have school today? Well, I haven't gone to school in a long time. Don't worry, kiddo, I'm coming over. When I heard Cole's voice, my motherly instincts kicked in. It was heart-wrenching to hear him, just a little boy, talking about his mom being gone forever. I was furious, mad at Carly for putting Cole through this. I couldn't understand how she could let things get this bad. I called Nathan and I told him what happened and asked him to stay with Ariel while I rushed to Carly's house. It was a long drive, about 5 hours, but I had to make sure Cole was okay. When I finally arrived, I hugged him tightly. I took Cole to the nearest diner and treated him to a nice meal. While he was eating, I carefully opened the letter that I had picked up from the house earlier and started reading it. Dear Melissa, I don't even know where to start. And once again, I've let you down and I'm not even sorry anymore. My life has been a mess and I needed that money. I'm sorry for deceiving you. I never sent Cole to school. I just didn't want him anymore. I collected all the cash you sent me and now I'm leaving. Cole is no longer my concern. I've realized I need a fresh start for myself. Do whatever you want with that loser. Foster care, orphanage, it's up to you. I just want a better life for myself. I'm done with pretending. I'm gone for good. You were foolish to trust me again, but you've always been a pawn in my game. You won't hear from me again. Goodbye. I couldn't believe what I had just read in Carly's letter. The way she had deceived me was infuriating, but this time I was determined to make things right. I told Cole to pack his things because he was coming home with me. We drove back to the city and arrived at my apartment. I prepared a nice hot shower for Cole, and then I sat down with Nathan and showed him the letter. Nathan agreed that we should contact the police and childcare services the next day. I didn't want to reveal everything to Cole just yet. He had already been through so much and I didn't want to overwhelm him. Besides, he wasn't alone. He had us, his family. I wanted to take care of Cole myself. After making that decision, I tried to get some rest for the night. But at midnight, there was a knock on our door. When I opened it, I was shocked to see Carly there. Carly, what on earth are you doing here? I'll have Nathan call the cops. What's going on? Oh, hush, Melissa. Where's Cole? I need to see him. He's inside sleeping, but I'm not letting you near him. Not after what you've done. Did you even realize he read that letter? You called him a loser and said you didn't want him anymore. My plan didn't work out. Just give me my son and I'll leave you alone. Your plan? What plan are you even talking about? Well, I got robbed. I was out traveling, trying to figure things out, you know. But then these guys jumped me, took my bag, which had all my cash, and left me with nothing. I had no choice but to come back. So you think it's that easy? You can just waltz back here and expect everything to be okay. I'm telling you, Melissa, give me my son and I'll leave. You won't ever have to see me again. If you need Cole, meet me at the police station tomorrow. We'll sort things out there. Don't drag the cops into this. After everything you've done, you think I won't involve them? You've been nothing but trouble since our parents died. Selfish to the core. Melissa, this is ridiculous. You're overreacting. Overreacting? You abandoned your own child. You're going to pay for this, Carly. I won't let you ruin Cole's life any further. You don't understand what I've been through. And what about what Cole's been through? He deserves better than you. I'm calling my lawyer tomorrow. We're taking custody of Cole. You can't do that. He's my son. Not anymore. You gave up that right when you left him alone. You're going to regret this, Carly. So here's how it all ended up. Cole is officially a part of our family now. After all the court drama, we finally got the legal papers declaring him as our son. It was a long journey, but seeing him settle in so well makes it all worth it. We made sure he got into a good school and gave him all the love and care he deserves. It's amazing to see how easily he accepted us as his parents. As for Carly, well, she's nowhere to be found. She doesn't have a job or anyone to turn to. The house she used to live in is legally mine, thanks to Grandma's will, and she's not allowed there anymore. Honestly, I don't even want to know where she is. My priority now is protecting Ariel and Cole from her influence. I don't think she'll ever come back, and that's just fine by me. We're creating wonderful memories together, and every day feels like a blessing. I'm grateful for the family we've become and for the chance to give Cole the life he deserves. Hello guys, I'm Ashley, and today I will tell you the story of me and a beautiful little girl named Bella. I met Bella through her father, Jacob. Jacob was actually my boyfriend who eventually became my fiancé. We were together for 3 years before he ended up proposing to me. I was in love with Jacob and obviously said yes. Frankly speaking, he was a great man and I thought he loved me a lot. He introduced me to Bella, who was a sweet and quiet kid. She was always polite and I ended up really liking her. She was a little shy and quiet around me, but we always got along great. With our engagement set, Jacob and I were excitedly planning our wedding. I was still staying in my rented apartment at that time, but was slowly approaching the end of my lease. I must say that I was a little worried about what I was going to do about the apartment. It was then that my fiancé came up with an idea. He said, "Hey, Ashley, why don't you move in with me?" "You want me to move in with you?" "Yeah, we're getting married, so you will be in my house soon anyway. Since I already own the house, you don't even have to pay rent anymore." "But I don't know, I think I'll feel awkward living rent-free with you." "Oh, come on. Don't be like that. It would be nice to have another helping hand around the house. Being a single dad to Bella can be exhausting sometimes. If you come to stay with us, it will be of great help." I guess you are right about that. If I am at your house, I will be able to help you take care of Bella too. I know being a single dad can be tiring since you have to do everything alone. So, what do you think? Will you move in with me? Of course I'll move in with you, Jacob. I have been wanting to do that for a long while now anyway. I thought we would do it after the wedding, but it sure sounds like a good idea right now. I was actually really excited to move in with my new fiancé. I always thought that it was a good idea to live with someone before you marry them. It gives you an idea about what life will be like with them. Also, I think it's important to match your schedules and ways with your partner before you start living together 24/7. It just makes things so much easier and avoids unnecessary problems later. So when Jacob asked me to move in with him and his daughter, I was actually ecstatic. I moved in with my fiancé as soon as I could. Since I worked from home, it was easy for me to get settled into a new place. Jacob already had a great Wi-Fi connection for his gaming computers, so I didn't have trouble setting up my own devices for work. It was actually nice, finally being able to live with the love of my life. Bella was just an added advantage since I loved her a lot too. I was super excited to take care of her and spend some quality time bonding before the wedding happened. So after I moved in completely, I actually planned a nice day out with my soon-to-be daughter. Bella was actually on spring break from school, so it wasn't like she was missing classes. The weather was also getting better, so it was the perfect day for having a picnic and going on mini adventures. I actually forgot to inform Jacob about it because he was in a hurry to leave for the office that morning. I thought I would tell him once he was back from the office. We weren't going to stay out till it was dark anyway. Maybe we could even surprise him at the office and have dinner together before coming home. I'm sure you can tell that I had done some serious planning. After Jacob left, I got ready and excitedly went to Bella's room to wake her up. To my surprise, I saw that her room was empty. I panicked a little because I didn't hear her call for anyone or even walk down for breakfast. I started to look everywhere for her while screaming her name. Ultimately, I heard her answer from the kitchen. I think Bella went downstairs when I was getting ready. Honestly, I was surprised that she didn't make even a little noise. And what shocked me even more was that I saw her washing the dishes in the kitchen. I immediately stopped her and said, "What are you doing, Bella? Why are you washing the dishes?" "I came down and saw that there were dirty dishes in the sink, so I got to work." "Oh, no, 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 Bella. You don't have to wash the dishes. You can keep them. I will do that for you." "When did you wake up? You didn't even call anyone." "I woke up before Daddy left for work. I was in the garden watering the plants. I didn't want to give you any trouble." "What are you talking about, Bella? You are no trouble at all. Why were you up so early? You stayed up with us late last night since you helped me unpack. You didn't have to wake up so early today." The other day, Bella was actually up with us until 12 a.m. She sat beside me helping me unpack till I literally took her to her room and patted her head till she fell asleep. The kid literally insisted on being there to help us and just wouldn't listen to me. I now realized that strangely, Jacob hadn't discouraged his daughter at all. He was telling me to let her be and help us. I was finding it slightly annoying because kids shouldn't be up so late. Adults can't help it if there was work, but kids absolutely needed to sleep by 10 p.m. at the latest. So once the clock hit 12 a.m., I had had enough and took Bella to her room. She was a little spooked and was begging me to let her stay. I thought that maybe she was having too much fun with all the unpacking and didn't want to leave. I wish I had known why she was being resistant. "Daddy hates it when I wake up late. I also had to water the plants. There was too much work to do." "You love to help around the house, don't you, Bella?" "I guess I do, Ashley." "Well, you can help us sometimes, but doing everything around the house is not your responsibility, dear. Your father and I are there for that." Bella actually looked down and didn't give me a reply. I don't know what was the matter with her. She was acting really odd, and I could see that clearly. It was one day since I moved in, and the household was already starting to look a little crazy to me. I eyed Bella suspiciously and said, "You have been watering plants and trying to wash dishes since the morning. Did you even have breakfast?" "No, I was going to go and get some after cleaning the dishes." "And what were you going to eat?" "Cereal and milk maybe, or maybe some crackers and cream if Daddy has bought them from the grocery store." I didn't know what in the world Jacob was doing in the house. It was like he didn't know how to manage his own household. His 8-year-old child was literally telling me that she makes herself breakfast out of packaged food with zero nutritional value. Maybe Jacob didn't have time to cook in the morning, but he could have done the prep the night before. I didn't even know what he used to give Bella for school lunch. I was starting to realize that it was a good idea I moved in. There were a lot of things that needed to change around the house. I thought that Jacob was probably overwhelmed and needed a little help to get back on track. Still, I was in disbelief and said, "Wait, that's what you were going to eat for breakfast? Packaged food and lots of sugar? That is not good for you, Bella." "I can't cook, so I don't know what else to eat. I tried to cut some fruits once, but I cut my hand. Knives scare me now." "What are you talking about, honey? It's not your job to make breakfast, it's ours. I have already made pancakes today. I left the batter out so that you can have them hot and fresh when you wake up. I had no idea you were up, let alone the fact that you hadn't had breakfast. Sit down right now and eat." I quickly made Bella pancakes, since the poor child must have been hungry for a while now. I swear to you guys that I didn't hear Bella wake up or get out in the back garden to water flowers. The girl never makes a sound, and I don't know how she managed to be so quiet. A girl her age should be full of energy and always ready to cause mischief. However, Bella was always quiet and demure. At first I thought maybe it was because Bella was shy around me, but it had been a reasonable amount of time since I had met Bella. She should have warmed up to me by now. Maybe she was still a little unsure of me, and I thought that our little day of adventure would slowly solve the problem. I was hoping Bella would unleash her inner child and finally be herself around me. So I excitedly said, "I have planned a nice day out for you and me today, Bella. Since you and your father helped me unpack last night, I don't have much work on my hands today. I also took a day off from work so that we could go on some fun adventures." You want to take me out? Where are we going, Ashley?" "We can go anywhere you want, dear. We can go to the park where you can play around, maybe the mall, arcade, just anywhere you want. Later, we'll have a nice lunch together. We will figure things out as we go. We have the whole day to ourselves." The whole day? When will we be back? I need to be back home soon." Bella seemed nervous that I was taking her out for the whole day. In fact, she was downright surprised by the fact that I was taking her out at all. I was honestly starting to think that she wasn't comfortable with me, or maybe didn't want to go out with me. Now that was concerning because I really wanted Bella to like me. I said, "What's the matter, Bella? Don't you want to go out with me? I don't want to pressure you, dear. If you want to be home, I will understand." I want to go out with you, but I need to be back home soon. I have stuff to do." "Oh, okay. Then we will be back home soon. I was thinking about getting your father from work and having dinner before coming home. But if you want to come home sooner, we will do that." No, let's not do that. Daddy will be angry at us. We need to be home before Daddy comes home. Please tell me you will bring me back home sooner than that." Bella was now visibly panicking and really getting stressed. I had no idea why she wanted to be home before her father. She was literally shaking a little. I didn't want her to stress anymore, so I didn't push the issue anymore. I promised her that we would be back before her father came home, and she seemed to be relieved. It was then that I started having doubts that Bella was scared of her father. My mind said that her father had scared her about going out alone or being late so that she wouldn't wander and get into unsafe situations, but my gut was telling me something else. I was really getting concerned about Bella and what was wrong with her. After Bella finished her breakfast, she insisted on washing her own dish. I allowed her to wash just her dish because she insisted so much, but I didn't let her wash everything else even if she insisted. The little girl's habit of getting house chores done would make people think it's adorable. However, I was finding it rather odd, although I didn't know why. Bella and I did end up going for our little day out and had fun. However, once it was noon, Bella was stressed again and kept telling me to take her home. She even denied having ice cream because that would mean we would be wasting more time. Can you imagine a child denying ice cream? Yeah, me neither, guys. That's why I was really concerned and took her straight home. I wanted to see what important work she had to do at home. As soon as we got home, Bella ran up to her room and told me that she would be changing. I went to my own room and took time to change while wondering what was going on with her. Then I went back to the kitchen to wash the dishes. Lo and behold, the dishes were already washed. I was so confused and felt like I was losing my mind. There was only one explanation about who did it. I went to look for Bella and found her in the laundry room trying to sort out clothes and getting them washed. I was shocked beyond belief. What are you doing, Bella? Did you wash the dishes and now come here to do laundry? Yes, I washed them as fast as I could. I hope I didn't disturb you with all that noise. I will be done with the laundry soon. If I hurry, I can get it done before Daddy comes home. Bella, you are not making any sense right now. Why are you doing all the chores around the house? I have to do my chores, Ashley. That's what I have to do to get food. Those were the words that I never thought I would hear from an 8-year-old girl's mouth. I hadn't even been 2 full days in Jacob's house, and I was already starting to feel like there were a lot of things going wrong here. The shock on my face was very clear, and even Bella noticed that because she looked away from me. I said rather loudly, "What on earth are you talking about, Bella? Who told you all this nonsense?" Daddy told me this, Ashley. He said that I needed to earn my food and stay. Since I can't earn money, I have to do all the household chores. Oh my God, no. You don't have to do everything, Bella. Daddy must have been joking. He is your father, so he is going to feed you and house you for free anyway. You don't have to take him so seriously, dear. But if I don't complete my chores, Daddy punishes me. I don't want to be punished again. Now that was another thing I never expected Bella to say. She was literally saying that Jacob punished her for not doing all the chores in the house. I never really saw abusive signs in Jacob, but I was going to listen to Bella about what she had to say. If what she was saying was true, something needed to be done soon. I had to get the truth out of Bella. I said, "You have to tell me what Daddy does, Bella. I'm here now, so he will not punish you anymore." "He doesn't let me eat when I leave my chores incomplete, and that's why I work in the garden and wash dishes before having breakfast. Daddy hates it when I don't complete my chores and make too much noise." "Is that why you are quiet all the time, Bella?" "Yes. Daddy gets really angry when I make noise. He says that I'm annoying him. He locked me in my room for a whole day once when I dropped a plate by mistake." Bella then went on to describe in detail all the ways Jacob was abusing her. The girl has never been to a doctor and has not even been given proper food. All she gets is a few nuggets or crackers from time to time because Jacob doesn't cook. He always orders out and eats junk, but he doesn't bother giving his own daughter proper meals. I was genuinely horrified at what I heard Bella say. It was truly terrifying to know that the man I loved was an abuser and didn't even stop for a small 8-year-old girl. She fed me lies about why his daughter was skinny and quiet all the time. Everything he said to me was a lie. He was a monster. Before I could even think about something else, I heard Jacob pull up to the driveway. Bella's eyes went wide as saucers and she started to cry a little, saying, "Oh no, Daddy's here and I haven't finished doing anything. He's going to lock me in my room and won't let me have dinner." No, listen to me, Bella. Please just calm down. Nothing will happen. Just allow me to explain these things to your father. I will take the blame for you." "Really? You would take the blame for me? But then he won't allow you to have dinner." "I pay for my own meals, Bella. He won't be able to do that to me. Just trust me, dear. Everything will be okay. I am here for you now." I calmed Bella down and sent her to her room. Then I greeted Jacob as usual and told him to go freshen up while I made him a snack. He seemed to be in a good mood and went to get changed. After a while, I heard him come downstairs and I called Bella to join us for a quick snack. As soon as Bella came down, he looked at her angrily and said, "Have you done all your chores, Bella? Don't lie to me because I know I will find out the truth." "Daddy, no, I didn't complete them." "What's the matter with you, Jacob? Bella was trying to do laundry and wash the dishes. I was the one who stopped her." "Who told you to stop her? I gave those chores to Bella. You had no right to interfere in my parenting." You told an 8-year-old child to literally do grown-up house chores. This is just unreasonable. Besides, Bella and I went out today, so she didn't have time. Oh, I see. All right then, Bella. I'm letting you go this time, but from tomorrow, I don't want you slacking. As for you, Ashley, my household operates in a certain way. I don't want you to mess it up. If you want to live under my roof, I expect you to follow my rules. Jacob gave me a cold look before neutralizing his expression and eating his food. As soon as he was done, he went to his gaming room to play. I was honestly taken aback by his nonchalant attitude about everything. It was starting to make sense why he made Bella do everything around the house. He was a lazy man and didn't want to do anything except work. In the entire day, he never offered to help with a single house chore, and he didn't even talk about dinner. It was I who made dinner and even washed the dishes and did the laundry later. That night, as I lay in bed, a million things went through my head. I'm not completely stupid. I knew that if I confronted Jacob, he might throw me out, and I wouldn't be able to do anything about Bella. Bella would be left to fend for herself while her father would continue this cycle of abuse. And if I stay quiet and let things be, eventually Bella and I would both be in trouble. After what I heard and witnessed that day, I didn't want to marry the man at all. All my feelings for him disappeared and were replaced by fear. I feared for myself and for Bella. I had to come up with a plan and needed to do it soon. The next morning after Jacob left for work, I did what I thought would be the best course of action. I took Bella and drove straight to Jacob's mom, Mary's house. All the times I had met Mary, I thought that she was a kind and just soul. She was also a very strict woman with a keen sense of morals. Under the circumstances, she was my best option. I knew she loved Bella and would definitely stand up for her if she knew the truth. I convinced Bella that it would be a good idea to talk to her grandma. She seemed really scared, and I practically had to drag her to Mary's apartment. I didn't want to traumatize Bella, but I also didn't want to leave her in such deplorable conditions. When we reached Mary's apartment, she looked extremely happy to see us. After all, who wouldn't love it when they get to see their granddaughter by surprise? She welcomed us in and soon realized that something was wrong with Bella. She kept asking her, but Bella kept her mouth shut. So I sent her to play and sat down next to Mary to say, "I'm sorry for showing up unannounced, Mary. There is something very serious that I want you to know." "What's the matter, Ashley? What's so serious? Is Jacob okay?" "Yes, Mary, Jacob's okay, but Bella isn't, and that's why we are here." Oh my God, I could see it on her face that something is wrong. "Tell me what's going on." "Listen to me, Mary. What I'm about to tell you will be shocking, but I think it's unfortunately true, especially because Bella has told me everything herself." I then proceeded to tell Mary exactly what Bella had told me the last day. Mary listened to me with patience, but I could see that she was horrified by what she learned. When I was done, she was shaking and had tears in her eyes. She was trying hard to get her emotions in check. With a shaking voice, she said, "Oh my God, I should have seen this coming. How did I miss all the signs?" "What signs are you talking about, Mary?" "I am such a bad grandmother, Ashley. I had doubts that Jacob was being neglectful. He kept telling me that Bella was skinny because of genetic problems. I believed him like a fool. I think Bella was trying to tell me something a year ago, but Jacob came and shut her down. After that, he rarely allowed me to have Bella alone. I never realized this until now. Oh God, what have I done?" No, don't blame yourself, Mary. You had no way to know. You can't change the past. Please don't beat yourself up for this. What matters is what we are going to do next. Mary was rightfully concerned about Bella, and together we came up with a game plan. There was no way we were allowing Jacob to abuse Bella again, and there was no way Bella was going back to her father's house. So Mary had a talk with Bella and somehow convinced her to go to the cops with her. Then, together, the three of us filed a complaint to the police about child abuse and neglect. It was a hard day, but we managed to get everything done. The cops began their investigation and CPS was involved. While this was going on, I actually got a call from Jacob. I immediately started to record the conversation so that I could get a confession out of him. Jacob seemed angry on the phone and said, "I am back home from the office. Where on earth are you and Bella? Have you taken her out again?" "Yes, Bella and I are out." "Why are you getting so angry, Jacob?" "You can't keep my daughter away from her chores every day, Ashley. I've told you countless times not to interfere with my parenting." "You are not parenting your child, Jacob. You are abusing her. I know how you starve and lock up Bella when she fails to do any of her chores. What is wrong with you, Jacob?" "Shut up, Ashley. She's my child, so I can do whatever I want with her. You better get used to it. After we get married, this will be your life." "You are delusional if you think I will ever marry you after this. You have no idea how far I can go to protect myself and Bella." Jacob actually laughed when I told him this. His laugh was cold and unfeeling. It was like he was enjoying himself while telling me that I couldn't do anything to him. He said, "Oh, really, Ashley? Tell me, what are you going to do? You have no rights over Bella. You can't take her away from me." "Well, she may not be able to take Bella away, but I can, Jacob. I can and I will." "What? What's going on, Mom?" "Yes, it's me, Jacob. You think you can get away with what you did to my granddaughter?" "Ashley, you little witch, you told my mom everything." "Oh, yes, Jacob. What did you expect? That I was going to sit around and watch you abuse your child? I wasn't going to let that happen." You will pay for this, Ashley. Don't think I will let you get away with this." "Oh, please, Jacob. You won't be able to do anything. We are already at the police station filing a report against you. The cops will be knocking at your door soon. I will take Bella away and will be disowning you for life. I do not want such an evil, shameless son like you. Karma is coming for you, Jacob." Mary said that and hung up on Jacob while he was screaming at us and calling us names. The call recording was then sent to the police database as evidence, and the cops immediately left to arrest Jacob because by then they had plenty of proof to get him in jail. While he was brought down to the police station, Mary and I, along with a police officer, went back to his house to pack mine and Bella's clothes. Mary was given temporary custody of Bella, and she also invited me to stay with her. Mary actually lived in an apartment with security, so Jacob won't be able to get to us easily. We were able to get everything we needed and eventually moved into Mary's apartment. I must say that she is seriously our hero. Despite Jacob being her son, she took our side and even let me stay with her because I had nowhere else to go. Bella was super scared, so together we comforted her and got her an emergency appointment with a therapist. Jacob did get out on bail eventually, but guess what happened? The word spread around town and he was actually fired from his job. His job had a specific clause that said employees would be fired if they got arrested and had an ongoing case against them. So Jacob ended up losing his job. I will give you a shorter version of what happened next. Jacob lost his job and went absolutely crazy. He did show up to Mary's apartment and caused a huge scene trying to get to us. Everything was recorded by the apartment security cameras, and eventually the guards called the cops on him. He caused some destruction to the apartment property, so they filed a case against him. We were also able to get restraining orders against Jacob. After his brilliant show of behavioral issues and abuse, he eventually lost custody of Bella. She is now with Mary, who has taken up her care for good. Jacob didn't even get visitation because of what he did at Mary's apartment. Currently, Jacob is employed in a place where he had to take a huge pay cut. The court ordered him to pay a lot of money in fines for all the charges that were against him. He had to sell his house and move into a rented apartment because of his loss in income and court fees. I am still living with Mary and taking care of Bella with her. Bella has become a huge part of my life, and I am honestly very lucky to have both Mary and Bella with me. Every day I thank God that I could save Bella and also myself from an abusive man. I almost married a monster, but was able to not only escape last minute, but also punish him for abusing his child. Hello, my name's Bridget. I'm 36 years old and a mother to my beautiful son, Grayson, who is 7 years old. Recently, our lives got thrown into a whirlwind when I found out that my husband had been cheating on me, but I did not let him get away with it easily. Let me tell you how things went down. I met my husband Damon on a dating app. We clicked really well and we never seemed to run out of conversations. Not to mention we shared the same sense of humor and he made me laugh like no one else had. I'm only saying all this because these qualities of his blinded me from seeing all the negative qualities that he had. For starters, he was a 26-year-old man who still lived with his mother because he could not seem to hold a job down. I tried my best to get him to attend interviews for jobs that I took the time to search and apply for, but he just never seemed to care that much about it. On top of that, his mother, Shirley, hated me. I have no idea why she hated me, but now I realize that it was because I was not rich enough to enable her lazy son's lifestyle. She would always tell Damon that he could do better than me while I was standing right there. She would make snide remarks about me and would insult me at every point that she could. At no point did Damon ever stand up for me and correct his mother. Instead, he would try to make me feel better and would tell me to just ignore the things his mother said and did. And so that was what I did. I learned to ignore what Shirley said to me, even though her words hurt me. I truly was blinded by love for Damon because when he proposed to me after 2 years of dating, I said yes. Shirley was not happy about us getting engaged, and neither were my parents because they really didn't like Damon for obvious reasons. So Damon and I eloped. About a year after we got married, I got pregnant with my son, Grayson. Grayson truly was the only light in my life at that point. I say that because after giving birth to Grayson, my workload only increased. Initially, Damon got a job, and for the first few months of Grayson's life, we were doing well. But then he lost his job, and I had to pick up extra hours. Then a few months later, Damon would land himself a better job, only to lose it again. This cycle continued for the next 7 years. Until finally, Damon landed a good job after Grayson's 7th birthday. He was getting paid well, and while I didn't hold out much hope for him keeping it, he surprisingly stayed there for over 6 months, which was a huge surprise. I was finally beginning to settle into my new comfortable life until one day Damon told me about a conversation that he had with his mother. So I was talking to my mom today and she told me that she was feeling all alone at home. Yeah, I can imagine. I mean, she doesn't have many people to meet or many places to go. I just feel really bad about it, you know. Of course, I would love to go over and maybe keep her company some days after work. But you know how she doesn't like me. Yeah, I don't think that would make her feel any better. But she did propose an idea to me, and I told her that I'd run it by you before giving her an answer. Okay, what is it? She suggested that I send Grayson over every weekend, and some weekends I could even stay with the two of them. And I'm not invited at all? You know how she feels about you. I mean, you said it yourself. Yeah, but don't you think it really means that she's purposely trying to exclude me from my own family? I see where you're coming from, but I also can't just ignore my mother. You can't ignore your mother, but you can ignore and isolate your wife? That's amazing, Damon. Oh, come on. There's no need to be so dramatic about this. Just give me a straight answer, yes or no. I am not being dramatic, Damon. How would you feel if the tables were turned? Of course I'd feel bad, but this is the family we're talking about. Besides, Grayson loves Mom, and I'm sure he'd be happy to spend his time with her. I know that. It's just sad how you'll always pick your mother over me, even when she's treating me so wrong. Come on, that's not true. I always pick your side. I mean, I agree with you right now that my mom doesn't treat you right. Agreeing with me in private does not show me anything. Your actions tell me everything I need to know. Why am I even fighting you on this? Do whatever you want. My relationship with Shirley hadn't gotten any better even after I gave birth to Grayson. I knew she did not like me in any way, but for her to actively exclude me from any and all family time that I had with Grayson made me so angry and upset. Damon kept pressing me for an answer as the weekend drew nearer. At some point, I realized that I needed to prioritize Grayson over my feelings, so I asked him if he would like to spend his weekends with his grandmother. Grayson was enthusiastic about the idea, so I told Damon that he could go. The first weekend that Grayson went over to Shirley's house, Damon also accompanied him, so I was left at home all alone. Even though I felt sad, I took that alone time. I finally got to rest up and spend some quality time with my family and friends. When Grayson returned on Sunday evening, I noticed that he had been dropped off by Shirley's friend and that he came back home with a bag of gifts for him. I got a call from Shirley shortly after. Hello, Bridget. Did Grayson reach home safely? Hi, Shirley. Yes, he just did. I'm so sorry that I could not drop him off myself. I had some important errands to run. It's okay. Grayson's home safe. He had a blast at your place. Thank you for having him over. Of course. I love having him over. Thanks for agreeing to it. I hope I'm not taking away any of your time with Grayson. No, it's okay. I make time for him daily. Besides, he loves going over to your place, especially now that you spoil him with gifts. Which, by the way, thank you so much. Nonsense. There's no need to thank me. Grayson is my only grandson, so I have to spoil him as best I can. Yeah, Grayson takes very good care of the gifts you give him. It's the first time I've seen him be so careful with things, really. That's good to hear, but even if he didn't take care of them, I'd still buy him those things again. After all, I have that kind of money to spend on him. Yeah, well, I think it's still a good lesson for him to learn. The lesson is that he always has to take good care of his things because his mother is too poor to buy him things again. Excuse me? Look, between you and I only invited Grayson over every weekend because I was tired of seeing him look poor. You're clearly not doing enough to provide for him, so I want to spoil him. Why are you blaming me for that? Your son can barely hold down a job, so I'm the one who's stuck paying all the bills and looking after us. Don't you dare blame Damon for anything. The poor boy's been through enough. What are you even talking about? If it wasn't for me, we'd be starving in the streets right now. He has to deal with an incompetent wife like you. Of course his mental health is in the gutter right now, which is not allowing him to hold down a job. You know what? You're absolutely insane. You can't see a single flaw in your son, and even if you do, you're just projecting them onto me. That's something you need to seek help for. You don't tell me what to do. I can see why else Damon is always stressed out. You just always have an answer for everything. I don't want to talk to you much anyway. I only call to check in on Grayson. Bye. I couldn't believe the nerve that Shirley had to talk to me in that manner. I wanted to call her back and really chew her out for being so mean to me, but I didn't. I knew that we already had a very rocky relationship, and the last thing I wanted was for Grayson to recognize that there was something wrong between his mother and grandmother. So even though I didn't want to send Grayson over to Shirley's after that conversation, I continued to do it because it made him happy. I never spoke to Shirley after that either, because that was the only way that I knew how to keep my mind at peace. That's how things went for the next 3 months, until one day Grayson came back home from Shirley's house carrying a very expensive looking bag. A quick look at the price tag told me that it was $1,000. Whoa, what a nice bag. I know, right? Oh, wow, this is a designer bag. And hold on, is this a price tag? It's very expensive. Yeah, Grandma told me that I needed to be extra careful with this bag because it's really expensive. Grayson, sweetie, I think you need to give Grandma the backpack back. What? Why? Because it's a very expensive backpack. You might dirty it or even lose it. Besides, I don't think it'll look nice when you walk into class with this bag. Other children might damage it too. But I like this bag. I know, sweetie, but I really don't think it's wise for you to walk around with such an expensive bag. Why don't you give it back to Grandma so she can keep it safely till you grow just a little bit older? Why would I return the bag to Grandma? Because she bought you the bag, silly. No, she didn't. What do you mean? Did Daddy buy you the bag? He doesn't have that kind of money, though. No, Grandma didn't buy the bag, but my new mom did. New mom? Sweetie, what are you talking about? Daddy made me go over to Grandma's every weekend so he could introduce me to my new mom. She's so rich and pretty, and she buys me everything I want. And Grandma knows about this new mom? Yeah, Daddy told me that Grandma made Daddy and new mom meet. Daddy says that she makes him very happy. Do you like your new mom, sweetie? Yes, I like her a lot. She always tells me that when she becomes my new mom officially, she's going to take me far away with my dad. Oh, okay. That's enough about the new mom. Why don't you get washed up and we'll eat dinner together? I tried to make sense of what Grayson told me, but I really couldn't. Of course, I knew deep down inside what Grayson was actually saying. Damon was cheating on me with someone that Shirley probably introduced him to, considering how she always thought that I was no good for her son. I didn't want to believe that at all, and I tried to put that conversation with Grayson out of my mind for the rest of the week. But I found myself unable to do that, and just 3 days later I finally gave in and went through Damon's phone when he fell asleep. What I found shocked me to my core. Damon was cheating on me, and it was with a woman named Vivian. A quick look at her socials told me that she was the daughter of one of the biggest businessmen in our city, and she was a civil lawyer. That explains how she was able to give Grayson such an expensive gift. That was not the shocking part, though. The shocking part was that Damon had told Vivian that he had divorced me and talked about me like I was a wicked ex who only tormented him and took away his full custody of Grayson. He invented lie after lie about how I ruined his life and how I was the reason that he struggled to get a job. The job that he had was because Vivian pitied him and found him that job. My blood was boiling. I couldn't believe that I spent all my time and energy working so hard to provide for this man-child, only for him to throw it all in my face and call me wicked. I texted Vivian from my social media account and introduced myself to her the next day. I told her that I had something important to tell her and asked her if we could meet at a coffee shop the next day. She agreed. The next day I was nervous, but I knew that I was doing the right thing. Eventually, Vivian walked in and approached me. Hey, I'm Vivian. Are you Bridget? Yes, hi. It's so nice to meet you. You too. So, what are we meeting about? First of all, I just wanted to thank you for the expensive gift that you gave my son, Grayson. It really was such a sweet gesture, but I really don't think it's right for a child to have such an expensive bag. Oh, no, it's okay. Damon told me that you would not really like the expensive bag. I didn't mean to offend you in any way, though. I just wanted to give it to Grayson because I thought he'd like it. Grayson loved it, but I still don't think it's appropriate. But what do you mean by you didn't mean to offend me? Well, Damon told me that you were struggling as a single parent and that seeing such an expensive bag would probably hurt your ego. Wow, that's rich coming from him. But speaking of Damon, the other reason that I asked you to meet me was about him. Oh, what about him? It seems like he's told you that he and I have divorced and we share custody of Grayson. Yes, well, his mother told me, actually. Her mom and my mom are friends that happened to reconnect a few months ago. My mom told his mom that I was single, so they set us up. Oh, wow. Okay. I did not know that, but I need to tell you that Damon and I are still very much married. What? You're lying to me. Damon told me that you tried to sabotage our relationship because you were jealous, that he was moving on. I have no reason to lie. Where do you think Damon lives? With his mother? No way. I'm the one that he still lives with because we're still married. I have to say, this is very pathetic of you to do. I didn't think you were the best person to begin with, but to lie and sabotage someone's relationship out of pure jealousy, it's just sad. Do me a favor. The next time you see Damon, why don't you ask him to show you our divorce certificate? You have my number in case you want to get even with him. I watched silently as Vivian grabbed her things up and left me sitting at the same table. She stormed off angrily towards her car. I hoped really hard that my words had some impact on her and she'd take me up on my suggestion. I sat at that coffee shop for a little while longer because I really did not feel like going back home, until I eventually left to go back home. I looked into Vivian some more because I was curious about what kind of person she was. She was apparently a really good person. She volunteered for a lot of different things depending on how much free time she had. She regularly donated to women's and children's homes and overall seemed to be a generous person. That made me understand just why Grayson adored her so much. Not for her generosity only, but also because she was genuinely a nice person. The more I thought about it, the more I really did feel bad for Vivian. If I found out that my relationship with someone turned out to be a lie that resulted in me doing something that I was okay with, I would not want to believe it. I really prayed and hoped that Vivian would see that I was right, because I wanted more than anything to ruin Damon's life for what he did to me and Grayson, and our family. My prayers were answered in 2 weeks. I was at work when I got a call from an unknown number. I didn't pick it up at first because I don't pick up unknown calls, but the number called me again and again, back to back. Eventually, I picked it up and realized that it was Vivian on the other end. My heart was in my throat because of how nervous I was about what she was going to tell me. Hey, Bridget, can we talk? Hi, yes, of course. Is everything all right? No, it's not. Did I prove you right, or are you going to yell at me again? I'm so sorry for the way I left you last time we met. It's okay. I understand that it's hard to digest information like that. It really was. I'm a woman who has very strict morals, and helping a man cheat on his partner or spouse is something I absolutely loathe. I would never have done it, and I'm so sorry that I did it with your husband. Whoa. How did you confirm that Damon was married? Well, for the past week or so, I kept badgering him with questions about the divorce. I kept asking to see the divorce papers. Let me guess. He snapped at you eventually. Oh yeah, big time. He started yelling at me at the top of his lungs. Aside from a lot of cuss words, he also called me insecure for not trusting him. That immediately raised a lot of alarms in my head. I'm not surprised that Damon wouldn't change even when he was with another woman, but how did you get the confirmation for his lies? I approached Shirley. She was the one that introduced me to Damon, so she had to have the answers. She did not give you your answer easily, did she? I knew she wouldn't, so I approached like how I would approach my clients. I essentially goaded it out of her. When she realized that she had slipped up, she kept apologizing for tricking me and told me that she had no option because Damon was in a miserable relationship. She told me that Damon was still in the process of filing for a divorce, but even I knew that was a lie. Oh, wow. What did you say to that? I just told her that she and her son were disgusting people. I picked my things up and left. I called you immediately to apologize. I really am sorry for coming in between you and Damon. You have nothing to apologize for. Damon and Shirley tricked you. If you had known, you never would have involved yourself in a relationship with him. Besides, you've made your amends by believing me and asking for proof of divorce. You told me last time that you wanted to take revenge. Is that option still on the table? Of course. I just need to figure out how to go about doing it, and I kind of was counting on your legal advice to help plan out a revenge. Oh, I've got a lot of good ideas to get back at Damon. How about we meet at the same coffee shop tomorrow and plan everything out? That sounds good. I was so happy that Vivian was a good person with a conscience. I was even happier that I managed to get her on my side. We met up the next day at the coffee shop. Vivian looked like she hadn't slept at all, and my heart really went out to her because I was in the same boat as her. I understood her heartbreak all too well. That understanding that we shared was actually, in an odd way, comforting. We spent the first hour of our meeting just talking about how we felt. We even cried a little. I felt like I had found a new friend in her. As funny as that is, it was true. Once we were done feeling our feelings, we got to talking about our plan. Within half an hour, we had drawn up our plan. Vivian was a woman of immense influence, and she used her influence and connections to help Damon get his good job. In the same way that she had gotten him that job, she took his job away from him. But that was not before she helped me out. She got me acquainted with a lawyer friend of hers who specialized in divorces. Her friend helped me get all my affairs in order and also helped me gather all the proof and evidence necessary to get full custody of Grayson. I started the filing process for the divorce, and when we got the divorce papers in our hands, we planned to drop both news on Damon at the same time to worsen the blow and embarrass him. So Vivian pulled her strings and had Damon fired publicly, to be fair. He was lousy with his work, and the only reason that he was still working there was because of Vivian's connections. On top of that, I had the divorce papers served to him just after he got fired in front of all his colleagues. It didn't take long for Damon to call me and demand answers for what was happening. What is this? Oh, I see that you got the divorce papers. Yes, and they were served to me while I was at work. Do you know how embarrassing that was for me? Especially on the day that I lost my job. You lost your job? That does not matter. Why are you trying to divorce me? Are you serious? Of course I am. What have I done to you to deserve this? Damon, don't try and act like you've been the perfect husband. I'm tired of you, and I want out. Is this all about my mother? Can you not for 1 second make everything about you and your feelings? Do my feelings not matter at all? I mean, I totally see why my mother hates you. Right. That's why you were cheating on me with Vivian, your mom's friend's daughter. What? How do you think you lost your job, huh? You planned this. More like Vivian was more than angry that you lied to her about being divorced. She has some very strict morals, all of which you knew apparently, and you made her violate them. What did you say to her? I only told her that you were still married to me. That set her off, and she took her revenge. Now it's my turn. You can't leave me. I have nothing. How do I live now? Go live with your mother, who cares so much for you that she enables you to cheat on your hard-working wife and break your family. Look, I'm so sorry. I promise I'll be better. I'll cut all ties with my mom. Please don't leave me. You already told Vivian that we were divorced, and I'm just making this a reality. Everything that you want to do to make up for your pathetic behavior will not work. It's a little too late for apologies. What did you expect from me? The two most important women in my life hated each other's guts, and I was always in the middle of the crossfire. And you still chose your mother, which means I was never important to you from the start. I really don't have anything more to discuss with you like this. Just get yourself a lawyer and communicate with mine. You need to take your things and get out of this house. You can't make me leave my own home. Is it your house? Because last time I checked, the house is in my name and I've been the only one that's paid for the mortgage. I've packed your things. Take it and leave. I hung up on Damon after that. It broke my heart that things had to end this way. I really tried my absolute best to be the person that he'd love and cherish. But getting my revenge on him made me feel like everything I did for him was justified, especially since he only felt apologetic when he realized that he lost both the women that he was trying to mooch off of. His audacity was truly astounding, and I wanted nothing more to do with him. I called my dad over to be with me until Damon came back because I didn't think that he'd actually leave on his own. Thankfully, my dad arrived about 10 minutes before Damon showed up. When Damon came home, he didn't see my dad and began to yell at me at the top of his lungs because I was not a good wife, and told me that that was the reason that he found another woman to look after his needs. My dad came when he heard what was happening from the living room and came in to tell Damon that it was pathetic that he relied on someone else to provide for him instead of getting a proper job to do that for himself. Damon shrunk back into himself when he saw my dad, who is a big, muscly guy, by the way, and always intimidated Damon because my dad never liked him. Damon picked his things up with his head hanging low and walked out of the house, but not before dropping the signed divorce papers in front of me. He knew it was not going to be a smart decision to contest a divorce, especially since he wouldn't have the funds to pay for a lawyer. It was really hard to tell Grayson about why his dad was no longer going to be around the house. Grayson was thankfully really understanding. He did ask me about Vivian, and I told him that Vivian would swing by every once in a while to meet him. She really did take a liking to him and asked me if she could continue to visit him from time to time, and I knew that Grayson really liked her too, so I saw no point in stopping them from seeing each other, especially since she helped me get my revenge on Damon. I knew that she was a good person who was just coerced into doing something bad. My divorce with Damon is still under process, but Grayson and I are moving on to better things. Now that I have a freer budget, I get to actually spoil my son, and seeing him so happy is the only thing that's keeping me going. Vivian and I have become good friends, and we meet up every other week, and sometimes even have a good long laugh at Damon. Using her connections, Vivian told me that Damon is still struggling to make ends meet, and he's back to living with his mother. He's been applying everywhere to get a better job, but Vivian made sure that he would not get a job in his field in our city at all. At best, he'd have to move away, or he'd have to settle for working in low-paying jobs. Whatever it is, I'm happy that my son and I have come away from that experience completely fine and happy. Thank you for listening to my story. Hey guys, I'm Alyssa and I'm 29 years old. I'm going to get into the story straight away without wasting any of your time, I promise. But before that, let me give you a little background. So, a bit about me. No fancy schmancy background or anything, just a gal who survived college with a degree in psychology. Yep, I spent my fair share of time dissecting brains and unraveling the mysteries of the human mind. Fascinating stuff, I tell you. Now, let me introduce you to the so-called love of my life, Ronan. He was the yin to my yang, the peanut butter to my jelly. We met back in college, where he was this charming, laid-back guy majoring in computer science. Opposites attract, they say, and boy, were they right. College days were a whirlwind of late-night study sessions and impromptu road trips. I remember one time Ronan and I decided to skip class and drive all the way to the coast, just to watch the sunrise. We ended up getting lost, of course, but that's half the fun, isn't it? But amidst the chaos of college life, Ronan and I found each other. It was like something out of a cheesy rom-com. Him, the quiet tech genius, and me, the bubbly psychology enthusiast. We just clicked. We both literally grew up together, and soon enough after college, I landed a gig as an assistant counselor at a local community center, helping troubled teens find their way in the world. It was challenging, sure, but oh, so rewarding. As for Ronan, well, he landed a job as a software developer at a startup company downtown. The hours were long and the work was tough, but he thrived in that fast-paced environment. Fast forward a few years and we tied the knot. My parents adored Ronan, which was a pleasant surprise considering they are usually skeptical about anyone I bring home. And as for Ronan's mom, Kathy, well, she was a single mother. I mean, I half expected her to give me the cold shoulder, you know, the whole mother-in-law from hell trope. But Kathy, she welcomed me with open arms. Life with Ronan was a dream come true. We were the poster couple for stability and perfection. But you know what they say, perfection is just a mirage. So it all started on a rainy morning. Ronan promised Kathy he would take the day off work and drive her to her doctor's appointment. And true to his word, he did. Meanwhile, there I was, stuck at work, dealing with patients. I remember that day vividly. I was in the middle of a session with a patient when Kathy's call started flooding my phone. It felt like every time I glanced at my phone, there was another missed call from her. I finally managed to sneak away for a quick break and called her back about 15 minutes later. Hey, Kathy, what's going on? I'm at work and it's not the best time. Alyssa, you need to get to the hospital now. What's happened, Kathy? You sound really worried. Is everything all right? It's Ronan. He was in a car accident. He's lost a lot of blood. And I tried calling you from the ambulance, but you didn't pick up. The doctors are with him now. Oh my God, Ronan, my love, I'm coming right away. I was all set to jump into my car, but as I reached for the keys, my hands started shaking uncontrollably. It is funny, isn't it? Here I am, dealing with patients with anxiety on a regular basis, and the first rule is always to stay calm. But at that moment, calm was nowhere to be found. So I did the next best thing. I hailed a taxi. The only thing on my mind was Ronan. Would he make it? How could I even begin to imagine life without him? The drive to the hospital felt like an eternity. I spotted Kathy outside the room, her face twisted in worry and tears streaming down her cheeks. Without a second thought, I rushed over and gave her a tight hug. Hey, Kathy, what's the update on Ronan? Is he going to be okay? I wish I had answers, Alyssa. The doctors are still with him. He's banged up pretty bad, broke some bones, lost a lot of blood, but they're doing everything they can. I'm just praying he'll pull through. I can't lose my boy. Gosh, that sounds terrifying. My heart's racing just thinking about it. How did the accident happen? We were coming back from my appointment at the hospital and Ronan dropped me off and was on his way back when, boom, it was like a nightmare, Alyssa. 2 cars collided not far from where he dropped me. I did not even see it coming. It all happened so fast. Oh no, that is absolutely horrifying. Was anyone else hurt? It was a police car, believe it or not, and the officer was in a bad state. They said he smelled like booze. Can you imagine? Unbelievable. This is a nightmare. But we have to stay positive, Kathy. Ronan's tough as nails. He will fight through this. I hope you're right, Alyssa. Kathy and I sat quietly, feeling helpless. All we could do was wait, clinging to the hope that the doctors would bring us some good news. When they finally came out, we looked at each other and approached them. Hey, doctor, how's my husband? Yeah, what's the update, doctor? Ronan's stable now, but there's something tough you need to hear, especially you, Alyssa. What do you mean? You're scaring me. Ronan won't be able to walk again. He has severe spinal cord damage. He is quadriplegic. Both his arms and legs are paralyzed. What? Are you sure? There must be something you can do. We have done all we can. I'm sorry. Now, if you will excuse me. Wait! Doctor, please! What about Ronan's future? Can't we try something else? I'm sorry, Alyssa, but this is it. Ronan needs you now more than ever. But my son can't be in a wheelchair for life. This can't be happening. I understand it's hard, but we've exhausted all options. I'm truly sorry. After hearing the devastating news, I hurried into the room with Kathy close behind. Ronan looked so different, so unlike himself. I reached out and held his hand tightly. He was awake, but he could not speak well. It was late, nearly midnight. Son, this is all my fault. I should not have asked you to. Mom, please, not now. It's fine. Honey, we will get you the best treatment out there. I'm not myself anymore, Alyssa. My arms, my legs, they don't function. I feel like a living corpse. There's nothing that can be done about it. Please don't say that, Ronan. My son, it's been a terrible day. There's nothing you can do. What time is it? It's almost midnight. Mom, I think you should go. Alyssa's here with me. Come visit me again tomorrow. Well, it's late. I should go. I'm really sorry, son. Kathy left the room, leaving Ronan and me alone. I felt lost, unsure of what to say or do. I knew how devastating this news was for him, so I just sat there quietly, holding his hand, hoping to find the right words to bring him comfort. Alyssa, there's something I've been thinking about, something I need to talk to you about. Of course, Ronan. What's on your mind? You know you can share anything with me. Today changed everything, not just for me, but for you too. Look at you. So young, only 29. I know all the dreams you had, the plans we made together, kids, a family, watching them grow up. But now I can't give you any of that anymore. I'm sorry. Ronan, please, let's not dwell on this right now. You have always been my top priority, and that hasn't changed. I know this situation is tough, but I am just grateful you're still with us. But Alyssa, I can see how hard this is for you too. I know you could move on, find someone new and start over. You're strong and capable. But please, for us, for all the memories we cherish from college, from buying our first apartment together, please don't leave me. I know I can't be of any use to you anymore. I feel like a burden, but I love you, Alyssa. You're the only one I trust, the only one who can take care of me. Ronan, how could you even think that? Leave you? Never. You need me now more than ever, and I'm not going anywhere. We'll face this together, I promise. But Alyssa, you'll have to take care of everything now. I can't work anymore. Can you handle all the bills and the responsibilities? I will do whatever it takes, Ronan. I will take on an extra part-time job and work as much as I need to. I love you, hon, and I will do everything in my power to make our life as normal as possible. Hearing that, it means the world to me, Alyssa. Thinking back on everything, I realized all the promises I made to Ronan came straight from my heart, fueled by genuine love. But let us admit it, We can all act a little foolish in love sometimes. While Ronan slept peacefully, I could not shake the weight of responsibility that now rested on my shoulders. The next morning hit me like a ton of bricks. Kathy was already at the hospital, her demeanor solemn. She urged me to go home for fresh clothes, so I did. Taking a taxi, I found my car parked at the community center's parking lot since the day before. After a quick shower and change of clothes, I went to the community center to inform them about Ronan's accident and how I would not be able to come to work until Ronan was discharged from the hospital. Then, without delay, I drove straight to the hospital. Upon my arrival, I saw a policeman speaking with Kathy. "What's happening here?" "This young man had some questions for Ronan about the accident, just routine interrogation they do after an accident." "Oh, I see." "Hey, I'm Mike. You must be Alyssa, Ronan's wife?" "Yeah, that's me." "I'm sorry about what happened." "Thanks. How's the other person? I heard it was a drunk police officer." "Yeah, I can't say much, but his badge has been taken away. He's okay, though." "That's not fair. He's the one who crashed into my son. He was reckless and now he's fine while my son suffers." "Kathy, calm down. I know you're upset, but we can't do anything about it. Anyway, Alyssa, here's my number if you need to reach out later for more questions." "Thanks, Mike. That's really kind of you." Being at the hospital with Ronan was tough. Some days were better than others, but I tried to be there for him as much as I could. I remember one day when he was feeling particularly down, I brought him his favorite snacks and we watched his favorite movie together. It seemed to lift his spirits a bit, even if just for a little while. There were also times when Ronan's frustration got the best of him. He would get angry and upset, understandably so. It was hard for him to come to terms with his new reality. Ronan finally came home from the hospital. It was a bittersweet moment seeing him in his wheelchair, knowing the challenges that lay ahead, but we were determined to make the best of it. The morning we arrived home, I struggled to put Ronan to bed. It was tough, to say the least, lifting him on my own, but I had made a vow to stand by him through thick and thin. As Ronan napped downstairs, I heard a knock at the door. It was Mike, the policeman. I welcomed him in and he took a seat on the couch. "Hey, officer, what's up?" "Hi, Alyssa. How have things been going for you lately?" "To be honest, it's been pretty tough. Ronan and I are both struggling, but I'm doing my best to stay strong for both of us." "I understand. I'm here to talk to you about the car." "Oh yeah? What about it? It belongs to Ronan." "Well, it's pretty banged up. We took some photos of the insurance company." "Oh gosh, I totally forgot about that. I've been so wrapped up with everything going on at the hospital." "It's okay, no worries. Also, we checked the dash cam footage." "And what did you find?" "Your husband's story matches up with the footage. The accident wasn't entirely his fault." "I never doubted Ronan. He's always been truthful." "There's something else, though." "What is it? Is everything all right?" "Yeah, everything's fine, but there's something you should know. Something unofficial." "What is it?" "I didn't mean to intrude, but I found something on the dash cam footage." "Go on, tell me." "Your husband did drop off your mother-in-law just like he said, but there's something else before the accident. I have got a USB drive with some information on it." "I'm not sure I understand. What kind of information?" "You should watch it alone. It might be best to keep Ronan away from it." "Okay, I'll watch it." That's all I wanted to tell you. Take care. Thanks for letting me know. Curiosity overwhelmed me. What was it that Mike couldn't say to my face? Knowing Ronan would not be awake for another couple of hours, I grabbed my laptop and sat on the couch. Inserting the USB drive, I found a single video on it, a dash cam recording. As the video played, I could hear Kathy and Ronan talking. It was from that same morning before the accident. "So, Ronan, how did you handle that situation with Mila?" Mom, please, let's not talk about it. It was incredibly difficult to convince her to go through with the abortion. She was so attached to me and she didn't even know I was married. If she found out, she would have been furious. You're just like me when I was younger. I liked to have a bit of fun. No way, Mom. I hope it wasn't when Dad was around. But Mom, I'm scared that Alyssa will catch on eventually. She may seem slow, but she'll figure it out. Oh, come on, Ronan. Alyssa will never find out. Remember that blonde girl you met when Alyssa was away at that psychology conference? Yeah, I remember her. I was so close to getting caught. Son, I never understood why you married her in the first place. She comes off as very boring to me. Alyssa always makes me look good. My friends absolutely love her, and they're kind of envious I've got such a wonderful, kind-hearted wife. That's why I wanted to keep her around. She's like the best accessory a man could ever hope for. Ronan, if Alyssa ever finds out about your lies, she'll be devastated. Whenever she comes over for dinner at my place, she always talks about starting a family and how excited she is. If she learns about your little trip with Mila last weekend to the abortion center, she would be devastated. Mom, it just occurred to me that maybe she's right. We should definitely try for a baby. Once she's busy with the baby, I'll have more freedom than ever. So, that's me. All right, I'll pull over. Thanks a bunch for arranging the doctor's appointment, sweetheart. And hey, give my love to Mila. You'll be seeing her next week, won't you? Mom, always teasing me. See you later. I sat in front of my laptop, utterly stunned by what I had just witnessed. Was that conversation even real? Ronan had been cheating on me, not just with one woman, but with multiple women for so long. And to top it off, this Mila girl was pregnant with Ronan's child. I didn't know how to react. There he was, sleeping peacefully in the other room while I had been bending over backwards taking care of him like a donkey and stressing about our future. And all this time, he was unfaithful to me. They talked about bringing a baby into our family so he could have more freedom. What did that even mean? So he could sleep with more women without my interference? It was outrageous. At that moment, I felt like such a fool. All those promises I made to him at the hospital, pledging to make ends meet for us while he had the audacity to beg me to stay with him forever, knowing he had been cheating on me. And Kathy, how could she condone his behavior? Didn't she have any sympathy for me? No, she did not. She was encouraging him. After a lot of thought, I decided to keep quiet for a while. When Ronan woke up and called out for me, I chose to remain calm. I did not want to show him that I was angry or that I knew about his infidelity. The day passed in silence, with Ronan oblivious to my inner turmoil. Did he even care about me, or was he only concerned with himself? That night, while Ronan slept, I could not resist the urge to check his phone. I wanted to see what he had been up to, so using his Face ID while he slept, I accessed his text messages. At first, they seemed innocent, just conversations with work colleagues. But then I stumbled upon something unexpected. Tinder. My husband had been on a dating app all this while. I scrolled through his chats, and there she was, Mila. But she wasn't the only one. There were other girls Ronan had been talking to, but Mila seemed to be the one he had actually met from the chats. I made up my mind. I wanted to get back at Ronan regardless of his paralysis or the trauma he had endured in the accident. I texted Mila. Hi, Mila. This is Alyssa, Ronan's wife. No way! Is this some kind of a joke? No, it isn't. Ronan was in a car crash. He is paralyzed. I recently found out about you. I had no idea he was married. I'm so sorry, Alyssa. This is all so unexpected. I also heard about how he forced you into getting an abortion. I'm sorry it must have been hard for you. Thanks, it really was. I understand, Mila. I'm not blaming you. In fact, if you want to confront him about not telling you about our marriage, you're welcome to come to our house this Saturday. I want to expose him for who he is in front of everyone. Count me in. Text me your address. I couldn't believe the mess I was in. Ronan's betrayal not only dragged me into his mess, but also involved other women like Mila. It pained me to think that he would force someone to undergo such a traumatic experience as an abortion. And to top it off, Kathy, my mother-in-law, didn't even object to his behavior despite knowing everything. I felt the need to expose the truth to everyone, so I devised a plan for Saturday. I would invite them over under the pretense of a gathering with Ronan, but my surprise guest, Mila, would arrive, and hopefully the truth would come out. With 3 days to go until Saturday, I struggled to maintain a facade of normalcy around Ronan. The next day I had work, so I asked Kathy to look after Ronan in my absence. When I returned, I found Kathy had left, believing Ronan and I were alone. So, Alyssa, have you considered taking up that second part-time job? Well, I've been giving it some thought, and I plan to apply to a few places soon. You really should. Our current situation isn't sustainable. Your job alone isn't enough to provide for us comfortably. With my condition, I want us to live comfortably, and that requires extra income. I've been thinking about it. I want to explore the world, and having some extra money would certainly help. Ronan, you know the bills are piling up. I think you should put a pause on your traveling dreams. What do you mean, pause? You promised to stay by my side. You have to obey whatever I say. Anyway, I have another idea. My mom suggested this girl to me, a live-in caretaker. With you working long hours, I'll be alone most of the time, and I need someone to take care of me. We can't rely on my mom to come over every day. I understand that, but what about the professional nurse recommended by your doctor? He seemed trustworthy. I'm not concerned about the doctor's recommendation. The girl my mom mentioned seems sweet and reliable. I think you should give her a call tomorrow. We can arrange a meeting. I couldn't believe Ronan's idea of having a young nurse instead of the one recommended by the doctor. It made me feel like he just wanted to be around other women. Even though I could be wrong about my intuition, I couldn't shake off the feeling of how he had betrayed me. The next day, Ronan asked if I had called the girl. I lied and said I did because I didn't want to argue. Slowly, I started packing my things, planning to leave after the gathering on Saturday. Some might think it's wrong to leave Ronan when he's gone through something so terrible, but I couldn't forget how he treated me. Despite being someone who forgives easily, I couldn't forgive him this time. I invited Ronan's friends and family over for a gathering and told them I was hosting it to cheer him up. After everyone agreed to come, I called Kathy. Kathy, it's Alyssa. Oh, Alyssa, I wasn't expecting your call. Is everything okay? How's Ronan? Is he doing okay? Yeah, he's all right. I called to tell you that I'm planning a little gathering tomorrow. Just thought it might lift his spirits. A gathering? Are you serious? Ronan needs rest, dear. I know, but I thought being with loved ones would cheer him up. Did he agree to this? It's more of a surprise. I'd love for you to be there too. Well, now that I think about it, having his friends around might be good for him. Great. See you tomorrow, Kathy. It's going to be a wonderful time. Once Kathy agreed, I got prepared. Saturday morning arrived and I messaged Mila to make sure she was still on board. She confirmed, which made me feel relieved. I was nervous about how things would unfold, but I knew it had to be done. Upstairs, I packed my things, ready to leave. Ronan remained downstairs, unaware of my plans. At 4 p.m, the doorbell rang and guests began to arrive, filling our house with chatter and laughter. All these people, I wasn't expecting this, but it's nice to see some old faces. So, did you invite everyone from my contact list? You know, you could have asked me before contacting everyone. Now, Ronan, hush down. It's okay. I invited almost everyone I thought was important and needed to be here. I just want you to enjoy this evening. It's going to get a lot more interesting later. What do you mean? You wait and see. Seriously, Alyssa, you're acting weird. What's going on? Relax, Ronan. It's nothing to worry about. Just enjoy the company and the food. So at this point, Ronan was getting a bit suspicious about what was happening, but I managed to calm him down because there were a lot of people around. Kathy was also busy chatting with guests, and then I received a text from Mila saying she was outside. I thought it was the perfect time for her to come in since everyone was already here. I waited anxiously, watching the door. After a couple of minutes, a beautiful woman entered. Despite her beauty, Mila looked exhausted, like she hadn't slept in days. I could only imagine what she had been through. Ronan seemed surprised when she walked in, and he looked around, unsure of what to do. Mila seemed nervous, so I approached her and we whispered together. I explained the plan to her. Then I cleared my throat and called for everyone's attention. Hey everyone, thanks for coming. I know you're here because Ronan is important to you, but there's something important I need to share with you all today. Alyssa, I don't know what you've heard or who told you, but I don't think this is the right way to handle things. We can discuss this privately. Come on, Ronan. Why be shy about it now? People need to know the truth. Ronan, how could you do this to me? We were together for a year and you never mentioned having a wife. Whenever I asked to come over, you said your mom lived with you and didn't like visitors. But it turns out you had a wife. Mila, please, this isn't the time or place for this conversation. You have no right to be here. Ronan, you've hurt Mila deeply. She deserves to be heard. This is just the beginning. Everyone should know what you put her through. I was happy when I found out I was pregnant with your child, Ronan. I hoped it would bring us closer, but instead, you pressured me into getting an abortion. I wanted to keep the baby, but you forced me to go through with it. Ronan, finding your Tinder account and seeing your conversations with other women hurt. But you know what hurt me even more? Knowing that you could be so cruel and selfish. How could you force a woman to undergo something? Let's discuss this in private. There's no need to involve everyone. My friends are here. Ronan is right, Alyssa. You are overreacting. And why did you invite this woman into our house? Kathy, stay out of this. You encouraged his behavior. You're just as guilty. I heard everything. The conversation you had with your mom in the car just before the accident. Your confessions shattered me. Knowing that you wanted a baby with me just to keep me occupied while you pursued other women freely is utterly disgusting. The entire room fell silent. Confusion painted everyone's faces and whispers began to fill the air. Can everyone just give us some space? I need to talk to my wife. Hold on, Ronan. Correction, ex-wife. I've already spoken to my lawyer and I want a divorce. My bags are packed upstairs. I'm leaving you. Your mom, Kathy, can take care of you, or maybe one of your Tinder dates will be happy to help. What? Are you serious, Alyssa? You can't just leave me like this. We've been married for 3 years. We've been through so much together. I made a mistake, but we can work through it, right? The damage is already done, Ronan. No amount of effort can fix this. Please, Alyssa, I love you. I can't imagine my life without you. You brought this upon yourself, Ronan. I'm leaving. Kathy, you're welcome to stay here if you want. I'll be in touch about the divorce proceedings soon. Seriously, Alyssa? You're really going to do this? I can't handle taking care of Ronan. You cannot dump him on me like this. Kathy, it's not about what you can handle. It's about what's right. And right now, staying with Ronan isn't right for me. You've been supporting his wrongdoings all along, Kathy. Now it's time for you to face the consequences too. So, I went upstairs, grabbed my bag, and left the house. As soon as I stepped outside, it felt like a huge weight had been lifted off my shoulders. Some guests followed me out, saying they were sorry for what happened, but I didn't want to hear it. I hailed a taxi to the train station and boarded the first train to my parents' house. When I told them what happened, they were very supportive. I cried a lot during those days. It felt like my whole life had turned upside down. Ronan had been a big part of my life since college, and it was hard to accept that he was no longer in it. Now, 6 months later, Ronan and I are officially divorced. Looking back, I feel sorry for him. It's tough to lose the ability to walk and be in a wheelchair forever, but I couldn't continue to support him after everything he did to me. I'm grateful to the police officer, Mike, who showed me the video. I even reached out to him for helping me in a way he didn't need to. Otherwise, I might have never known the truth. The last time I saw Ronan, he said he was living with Kathy and complaining about how she wasn't treating him nice enough. But that's the consequence of his actions. He couldn't expect me to stay after everything he put me through. Anyway, that chapter of my life is closed now. I've started to move on, and I'm optimistic that things will get better for me. I believe in karma, and I think good things are coming my way. I deserve it.